imagine the whole scene happening just down here at this side of the lake, and when you go down, actually, you can get close to the water. Look at the left side. Outside the church, there's a big rock carved into steps. And there's one pilgrim who visited here, this land, in the 4th century, 380s, and her name is Egeria. She describes the holy site in Galilee, and she referred to those steps over there as the steps where the Lord was standing. Now, imagine the whole scene without the church, of course, that wasn't here, but that rock, those steps, and the water that used to be on a higher level. And the boat is about 100 yards in there. And in the early hours of the day, when the fishermen are doing the fishing, it happens at the earliest hours of the day. And usually, I don't know if you noticed that from where your hotel is, but usually in those very early hours, the shores of the Sea of Galilee are covered with mist. So it gets very misty on the shores, and Jesus standing in that mist, and he's calling out the disciples, asking them if they have got any fish. They can't see him, they're just hearing his voice, so they don't actually recognize who that man is. So there's a beautiful, come on, he told you to sleep, you don't have to follow his taking out what wrong. But it is really special. And don't mind, it's my ADD. No. Not a problem.
Here's a rock badger.
But, like, I want to go back before this story happened to the very beginning when Jesus recruited his disciples over here by the shore. And I want to tell you something about this side of the lake, where Tabga Plain is. The quality of these mineral springs, the high salinity and the warmer water, causes this side of the lake to be the most fertile side of the lake in fishing, the most fertile side. And you can ask any fisherman around the Sea of Galilee today. He will tell you that if you want to catch fish around the Sea of Galilee, go to Tabga. Jesus' disciples were trained fishermen. So maybe this is the site where it all started. He found those fishermen. If they were very good fishermen, they would have been here, at this side of the lake, right here by the plain of Tabga. So this is where Jesus met them. But interestingly, they followed him. He told them, I will change your lives, I will change your destiny. I will make you fishermen of men. They followed him all the way to Jerusalem, where he was crucified. But then they came back. There's something that doesn't make much sense about the story, because they left his calling and they came back to be just simple fishermen again. And
You're not sure, just talk over. That's halal.
that's a good quality.
Halal. He can hear you.
I know, I'm sorry. The other part is that if you know, well, first of all, this is John's gospel, and John always has something more to say beyond the words. But the thing is that there are many symbols over here in this story, and we'll get to that point. But like for instance, the number, the 153 fish that they were able to catch, as if someone was down there counting every single one of them, and the burning fire that John mentioned in his gospel only twice, and this is one of them. So they were fishermen. This is where Jesus maybe found them. They followed him, and then they came back and they were trying to catch fish. But maybe they weren't actually trying to catch fish. They were casting not only their fish, but they were trying to cast their human nets. Because Jesus turned them into fishermen of men, right? Guys, we have toured today only on the western shore of the lake, and there's a reason for that, because the Jewish towns in the 1st century were situated only on this side of the lake. Jesus came, and his ministry was to the people who lived here on this side. He came to his own. But often he crossed the lake to the other side. He went to the other side to the other people who herd other animals, who ate other food, and who worshipped other gods. Those were the Gentiles. The story of the possessed two men with evil spirit that Jesus took it and threw it to the herd of pigs. It didn't happen on the Jewish side. No way you will find a herd of pigs on the Jewish side. You will find it on the Gentile side. This lake used to function as a border between the Jews and the Gentiles. That side over there is or was part of the Decapolis, the 10 Greek Roman cities. That explains the herd of pigs, that explains the Gentiles, and that explains why Jesus used maybe to cross, because he came to the Jews but also to the Gentiles. But his disciples were Jews, and they were trying to minister his word among his own and among the Jews, but not among the Gentiles. He came over here early in the morning and he told them to cast their nets. Now, any of you have seen a fisherman casting nets before? When you want to catch fish with that method, with casting nets, you can only do it if you cast your nets on the shallow water and not on the deep. This is the way. You take your boat early in the morning, you take it a little bit to the deepest side, and you anchor your boat in a way that you cast your nets always to the shallow water. This is the only way, this is the only possible way to catch fish. So imagine that boat over there, and Jesus coming to the disciples and telling them, take your nets and cast it to the right side. That means, if they were trying to catch fish on the shallow water, Jesus is simply telling them, take your nets and cast it to the deep. If you are a trained fisherman, you don't do that. What the heck is he talking about? This is not the way for it to be done. We are doing it right, but we are not able to catch any fish, and Jesus is telling them to go against the odds. He wasn't simply talking about catching fish, he was talking about catching human. He wasn't talking about the lake or the boat. Don't go to the left side of the lake, go to the right side of the lake, go to the other side, go to the Gentiles. And then you will be able to catch how many? As many as possible. In the ancient world, they used to believe there are only 153 kinds of fish in the whole world. That's as many as you possibly can. And when they went to the Gentiles, they caught, well, as much as many are sitting here. So that's a very powerful story. They were able to catch humans on the Gentiles, but then Jesus was set with Peter, and inside the church there's a bedrock believed to be that table where they shared that barbecue together. And that's why one of the names of the church is the Mensa Christi, or the table of Christ. But when they sat together, John will link two stories together. The last time Jesus saw Peter was when he denied him 3 times by the burning coals. Over here, by the same burning coals, Jesus will ask Peter this time if he really loves him. 3 times.
3 times he asked him.
And he will make him a fisherman. He will make him a shepherd of his sheep. And that's why for the Catholics, this time they will prefer to call this church the Church of Peter's Primacy, because they believe this is where Peter was forgiven, and from a traitor he became a leader to the church, and he is considered to be by the Catholic Church the first pope. That's why you see the pictures of the popes over there on the way out. There used to be a Byzantine church that stood here on the same place. The Crusaders never built any churches around the Sea of Galilee, so this is their new one from the beginning of the 20th century, a Franciscan one, the Church of Mensa Christi. You can go inside, guys, and take a look. It became very quiet right now, and you can go down to the lake. We can take pictures down there, and you can touch those waters and remember that story. Any questions?